Hello, and welcome to the 15th episode of the Corny universe. If you haven't watched the previous episodes, you really should, otherwise you'll have no idea what I'm talking about. In the last episode, we discussed how each belief system humanity held was tailored to the power of their collective network. In this episode, we shall see how humans fit in the greater evolutionary dynamic of the universe. Since humans are the bridge between the world of biology and the world of ideas, concepts, and thoughts, having the power to superimpose ideas, concepts, and thoughts over their physical reality, they are like biology which gains conscious control over itself. A fully evolved and mature human would have such power over his biology that he or she could perform what others may consider to be miracles. You have proof of this more and more as various humans display incredible physical abilities which cannot be accounted for without the power of their mind. Examples include Wim Hof and his breathing techniques, various Indian yogis who can meditate for days without interruption, and the list goes on and on. Now, if each human is but a cell in a being with its own consciousness and will, that being's power would reach down a level further. Humans forming a collective global organism is basically like a planet achieving conscious awareness. And we have already described a planet as being an unconscious ball of chemistry. Through humans, a planet would therefore become a conscious ball of chemistry, or in other words, a planet which would be able to manipulate or consciously directly influence its own chemistry, just like fully evolved humans can directly influence their own biology. Try to imagine what that could look like. From the perspective of individual unicellular organisms, the cells in your body perform miracles all the time. Here's a little story. It's a discussion between a cell from the tip of your finger and a unicellular organism. The cell from your finger says, "I have the power to lift a glass full of water." The unicellular organism replies, "That's impossible. I don't believe you. Prove it." And then, of course, the cell from your finger says, "Sorry, I can't." Why? Simply because the decision to lift a glass of water doesn't depend on its own will but yours, the boss at the commands of the global collective organism that the cell of your finger is but a part of. Even if you took a big pile of unicellular organisms which had the same mass as a human, they would be incapable of coordinating in such a fashion as to lift a glass of water. That is an important lesson for humans because it shows that miracles cannot be proven empirically. You, as a human, do not listen to the wishes of each individual cells in your body, but do receive certain signals like the sensation of being thirsty if you haven't been drinking water. You wouldn't bother picking up a glass of water just to prove to skeptical unicellular organisms that you exist. And so, this is where the element of faith comes into play, since scientists, or the scientific method, will never be able to generate conclusive evidence of the existence of such a higher being. Humans will simply have to surrender to such a being and form a sort of team or partnership which cannot rely on proof but on faith. You and the cells of your body form a very sophisticated team where your cells tell you how they feel on the aggregate, and you, as a human, are supposed to figure out how to deal with their feelings. For instance, as a human, you can protect the integrity of your body and therefore of its individual cells by running away from a fire, or by vomiting toxic food, or by shifting your body's position if your back is sending you pain signals. Unicellular organisms are incapable of such actions. Now, let's transpose this logic to a being or higher form of consciousness which would emerge from humans and create a conscious planet. Don't forget that your inner reality would represent that being's outer reality. For instance, your inner biological reality is a mirror to the outside biological reality. Your inner reality of ideas, concepts, and thoughts, which reside in your brain, also permeates and affects your outer reality. But a being which is made up of humans as its cells would roam, would experience his or her subjective outside reality as being made up of ideas, concepts, and thoughts, a reality which is multidimensional, beyond or outside of space and time. This is why humans are so obsessed with the idea of the multiverse, time travel, through your sci-fi series like Star Trek, cartoons like Rick and Morty, and movies like the Marvel Universe or Interstellar. It is because a multi-dimensional perspective on reality would be a conscious planet's regular or standard perception. And for humans, which would live inside that being's body, they would be able to experience a number of miracles. As I said before, such a being would have a conscious control over the world of chemistry. Rings a bell? Turning water into wine? Turning lead into gold? Where did Jesus' magical healing powers come from? Well, your cells know. Since they are a part of your body, they are surrounded by magical healing mechanisms unavailable to unicellular organisms. By having faith in Jesus, certain ill people could shift their state of consciousness to receive the healing power of a global collective organism which they temporarily identified as being a part of. It would be like a unicellular organism temporarily becoming a part of your body by shifting its level of consciousness, thereby temporarily receiving all of the benefits that come with becoming a part of your body. And when Jesus says, "By myself I can do nothing, I judge only as I hear, and my judgment is just, for I seek not to please myself, but him who sent me," or "I and the Father are one," or when he's about to be captured by the Romans as he sits in the Olive Garden and he says, "Father, if you're willing to take this cup from me," the cup representing the ordeal of his capture, "yet not my will, but yours be done." Jesus is essentially admitting that it is not he personally who has healing powers, just like an individual cell of your body isn't responsible for all the systems and mechanisms inside of it. Jesus is also behaving like one cell in the body of a global collective organism of a being which has a higher form of wisdom far transcending his own, and he willingly surrenders his free will to such a being. Every single one of your cells is like a mini Jesus Christ. Your cells constantly receive such messages of higher wisdom from you. For instance, when you see a pack of wolves and run to the nearest tree to seek safety, the instructions you are sending to your cells do not make sense from their perspective. The wolves have not attacked you yet. They do not exist in their reality. That situation only exists in a reality at the level of human perception. In a similar way, a being made up of humans as its cells would reside in a dimension which transcends linear space and time and could be able to assess the infinite butterfly effect reverberation of any and all events into a multidimensional future. Such a being could know how sparing Jesus from being captured by the Romans would affect the course of human history and human development, as opposed to letting Jesus be crucified. Just like you know the probability of surviving the attack of a pack of wolves by climbing in a tree or picking up a stick to fight them off. So let's zoom out a little more. The ultimate goal of the universe is to raise the quality of consciousness to a point where it envelops the entire multiverse, or in other words, a multiverse being conscious of itself. In this regard, the micro and macrocosm are intimately linked. Fully evolved humans represent conscious biology and can therefore manipulate their biology. As a side note, such a power over your own biology can take the form of transhumanism or a non-invasive power of the mind over the body. The principle is the same, only your limiting belief system affects the form that such a power will take. A conscious planet can control its molecules. A conscious solar system can control its atoms. A conscious galaxy can control its subparticles. A conscious cluster of galaxies can manipulate its quarks. A conscious universe can control light or its photons. And a conscious multiverse can control vibrations or pure energy. And so you are back to the state of a universal consciousness, which you would probably call God. Thus, when humans look at a galaxy and think it is just a bunch of dead spinning matter, it is the same as if a chimpanzee was looking at a quantum computer thinking that a spinning fan and a few blinking lights is all that it represented. In the next episode, we will talk about artificial intelligence, so don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye.